This episode was originally going to be titled Not Got Pushed, Why? But then I realised if I was going to do that, I would need inside knowledge of the wrestlers that I was talking about. Now that would put me in the realm of the dirt sheet writers. The only small tidbit of behind the curtain stuff that I have gained is that of stuff from interviews I've done or by talking to my new wrestling mates at Alpha Pro Wrestling. Now they have let me in on some stuff that the average punter wouldn't be privy to, but I'm not going to break kayfabe just for a slightly more salacious video. Remember, I'll continue to be the guy who humanises wrestling, not sensationalise it. Sensational things happen, sure, but please let that be the great stuff seen in the ring. Before we go to the opening credits, let me tell you that on Thursday, January 20 and Saturday, January 22, I went to 3 Alpha Pro shows at Pipeworks Market in Thomastown. Saw some great action. I also won second prize in the raffle and got a meet and greet with B Squared, who went within 1 second of capturing the Alpha Pro tag titles when they drew 5 all in a 20-minute Iron Man match. Lots to love about Alpha Pro. Their next outing is on Saturday, February 22. Ticks are $10 general admission or $15 for front row. And more can be found on the Alpha Pro Facebook page. G'day wrestling mates, welcome to another episode of You See Kayfabe. I'm your host, Southern Joe, your wrestling mate from down under. I have heard recent podcasts talk a lot about who should be considered for halls of fame, who should be pushed, and who should have been pushed previously. Now, I like what Jeff Jarrett said once on his My World podcast. He said that creative is subjective. Go to any discussion about wrestling, and this is true. It reminded me of the year 2000 when I first got the internet and was joining various wrestling discussion boards. Back then, there was a subsection of people who wanted Brian Kendrick and Paul London to be pushed as the next Hulk Hogans. Now, they were great athletes, sure, but neither had the drawing power to even headline indie shows at that time. Even today, it seems like there is still that small section of the internet wrestling community that wants to be at the forefront of the next big thing. One of the main takeaways was the talking point about those that say Kevin Nash is the worst drawing champion of all time. The counterpoint was made, but who did he have to work with? And we can talk all about great champs like Bruno, Flair and Hogan, but it was who they defeated that made them a draw and a great champion. Pro wrestling is not like boxing or UFC, where contenders have to beat other contenders to climb the ladder to get their one shot at glory. Wrestling is based on storylines and emotion, and it's designed to get you invested and want to buy a ticket or for a pay-per-view or whatever. If there is history or something like that between two combatants, all the better. Time to shill some WWE merch. Then I'm giving my top 5 of wrestlers who should have got better pushes. Many people want to make sure they get proper WWE merch. Now, there are 2 ways this can be done, and I'll show them to you now. Now, see here, firstly, you can type in WWE in your search bar, go to the shop link, just like it shows in this demonstration. Or, in this demonstration, use this code and go directly into the shop itself. Yes, it helps the channel. Please use the code and help a wrestling mate. Welcome back to You See Kayfabe. So here's my personal top 5. If you agree or disagree, I would love to hear from you in the comment section. By the way, love it if you'd subscribe and check out my other content. I am aiming for my first goal of 1,000 subs. Please hit the bell for notifications and shoot me a like if you think I've earned it. Also, share these videos with all of your friends. So, in no particular order, here is my top 5. First up, and this one may surprise older fans, is a wrestler who had a more than decent run in the two main Texas territories where he hails from, but was brought into the old WWF as enhancement talent. His name is Scott Casey. In the territories, he was also known as, for a whole lot of people, as Cowboy Scott Casey. But in the expansion era of the WWF in the late 80s, he came in as a worker who could really give the stars a good workout. This was in the days where TV shows featured predominantly what was known as squash matches. The idea was that if you wanted to see top star against top star, you had to go to a house show and buy a ticket. Scott had good size and a good look. Now, he could have been the WWF's Texas version of Magnum TA. I know the WWF brought in other territory stars like Tim Horner and CVRP to be enhancement talent, but more could have been done for Scott. He could have had good feuds with people like Greg Valentine, Ted DiBiase, and others, as demonstrated by his instant substitution for B. Brian Blair in a Survivor Series match at the 1988 event. Number 2 is a personal favourite of mine. He had size like Hogan, but was quicker. He had a cool gimmick that the WWF enhanced in his ring gear. He could work well as a heel or a babyface. He was the beast from the East, Bam Bam Bigelow. Unfortunately, Bam Bam is no longer with us, but I thought with all the time invested in his debut and his push, he could have been the one to eventually take Hogan's mantle, not Ultimate Warrior. I believe that Bam Bam's penchant for setting his own schedules, in the vein of Vader, Dr. Steve Williams, and Stan Hansen, may have held back a bigger push in WWF and probably WCW. Number 3 is a guy who did become a world champion in the now defunct AWA. But in the words of Jim Cornette, that's like being the nicest guy in prison. While winning any title is a great achievement, even in the contrived world of professional wrestling, Rick Martel should have been so much more. Earlier in this episode, we talked about Kevin Nash's 1994 title reign as being one of the lowest drawing champs. Well, if the Fed was trying to put the belt back on Bob Backlund, who, while being a great technical wrestler, he was as bland as printer paper. But why didn't they then elevate Rick Martel? He was a 20-year veteran by then. He could still go well in the ring and had a charm and charisma all his own. Even if only as a transitional champ, he may have saved the lives of countless water coolers at Titan Towers. Number 4. Now, this one may also be a head-scratcher to some, but Ric Flair's initial WWF run. Yes, he became champion. Yes, he had that memorable Royal Rumble win in 1992, but the WWF left money on the table for the Dream Flair versus Hogan match. Reason was because of WWF's policy at that time of not mentioning any other company. Now, if you watched only WWF, Flair was just another wrestler about to get a push. But if you knew about the totality of wrestling, you knew that Flair versus Hogan was the dream match real fans had been waiting for. Number 5, AJ Styles. Now, name me another wrestler who has got the debut pop at a major event by a screen showing 3 words. That's what AJ Styles got in 2016. He was set to go out at number 3 in that year's Royal Rumble. Picture this. Roman Reigns was in the corner having just dispatched Rusev when they were the first 2 competitors. Unfamiliar theme music plays. The original broadcast focused too much on Roman squinting as to indicate, who the hell is this? But subsequent edits of the ring entrance shows that the crowd popped mega when the words, I am phenomenal, appeared on the big screen. Everyone knew that AJ Styles was about to debut. Here's a screenshot of the crowd's reaction from the doco WWE put out recently about the story behind AJ Styles' debut. Even though AJ has captured gold in the WWE, he has been largely wasted in the last few years. I still believe he is the greatest in-ring performer they have had this century, and he has improved his promos and was always believable in his work. He would be a saviour for AEW if he ever made the jump. So it's not just about indie internet darlings getting pushed because a few so-called fans want it, but there has to be sound reasoning behind it. Companies like WWE and to a lesser extent AEW and TNA know generally who to push. They won't always get it right, but the lesser companies are doing enough right to stay in business, while WWE are building stars and making money hand over fist. As I've said, agree with me, disagree with me, but leave respectful comments below, and I'll see you next time. Hooroo!